Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yahaya Bello, the Senator representing Kogi Central, Senator Sadiku Abubakar Ohere, the President of the NUJ, the President of the Guild of Editors, the Secretary to the State Government, and the former Special Advisor to President Goodluck Jonathan, our own Mr. Reuben Abati. I will be speaking to the issue of unity in our dear state. To start with, unity means being joined together as a whole. So when you talk about unity, you do not talk about the splintered groups that come together. You talk about the whole and the strength of that whole. Kogi is a multi-ethnic, multi-tribal state with the Igala people, Ebira people, Oko people, Basa people, Nope people, Oworo people, and so on and so forth. But we are together as one indivisible entity called Kogi State. It is not an accident that in Kogi you have the confluence of one of two of Africa's most important rivers, rivers Niger and Benue. And you also look at the significance of the confluence. After forming a confluence, they move on. And after moving on, it is being referred to as River Niger. That speaks to the issue of identity when separate parts come together to form a whole. Kogi suffered from disunity for many decades. The Igalas, the Ebiras, the Okuns went through what we call ethnic suspicion. The people were disunited. The people were at daggers drawn. The people were perpetually at war with one another. And this was foisted by the selfishness of politicians who felt the only way to gain political relevance is to divide the people. Did we lose anything to this unity? Yes, we lost a lot to this unity. Kogi is one of the most blessed states in Nigeria. Lithium, iron ore, limestone, gold, you can name it. I think there are only 2 mineral resources that are in Nigeria that are not in Kogi State. So it should be one of the richest states in Nigeria. But we could not tap into this potential because we were divided along ethnic lines. We lost economically, we lost socially, we lost even politically because the determination of political power was whimsically woven around the issue of ethnic bias. And that ensured that the state produced leaders that were grossly incompetent to move that state forward. The only consideration was ethnic consideration. Now, we lost all of this. Even insecurity, to a large extent, was promoted and aggravated by the fact that our people were divided. Now, coming to 2015, while we were going for another election, a man came out to contest on the basis of his competence and capacity, of his love for his state and his people, of his heart that sees a united confluent state. in 2016, he was sworn in as the 4th executive governor of Kogi State. That takes me to the functionality of unity. Unity is not a word. It is an act. It is not what you say with your mouth. When you give it the lip service, it is what it used to be, a deceit. But when he came, instead of talking about it, he was acting it. His first 3 appointments are the Chief Press Secretary from Kogi West, the SA Media from Kogi Central, and the Chief of Staff from Kogi East. I can remember vividly the pressure he went through before the day of his inauguration on the appointment of his Chief of Staff and his Chief Press Secretary. Those who were still living in the past were pressurizing him. No governor had emerged in the state and appointed someone from another senatorial district or ethnic background different from his own. But that narrative changed on that day. A chief of staff emerged from another senatorial district. A chief press secretary emerged from another senatorial district. And the SA Media and Publicity came from a different senatorial district. Then you now have 3 covering the 3 senatorial districts. That was a big statement to the people of Kogi State. And from that point, they realized that we have a governor now who is going to act as the father of the entire state instead of being a sectional leader. Also, he told us a story of when he was traveling to Benue from Kogi. And on getting to Ankpa, he was involved in an accident. That accident was occasioned by the fact that the road was very bad. Ankpa is in Kogi East, the Igala extraction of the state. And he promised that if he becomes the governor of Kogi State, he would ensure that that would be one of his first projects in office. And he fulfilled that promise by fixing the entire Ankpa Township road. Now, Abeju Kolo, where a former governor who spent 9 years came from, had no electricity for those 9 years. A governor came from the place, and for the 9 years he was governor, they had no electricity. Then a governor came from Okene, and within the first year, they had electricity. That speaks to the fact that instead of being allowed to be politically divided and appoint leaders that are not efficient, the people of Kogi State realize that where a leader comes from does not matter. What matters is what that leader can offer the people. When you look at the projects of the administration of Alhaji Yahaya Bello, road projects, projects in the educational sector, in the health sector, all of those projects were spread around and across the entire state. And that shows that today, nobody is talking about ethnicity anymore. We are going into another election. We had the primary election, and people from all walks of life came together to contest that election. And a candidate emerged, not because he's from a particular section of the state, but because of the person he is, because of his capacity, because of his competence. Many people were qualified out of the people that obtained the form to contest, but the choice was made by the members of the All Progressives Congress without ethnic consideration. I will also want to emphasize the fact that in 2019, Senator Smart Adeyemi came newly into our party, and the governor was already supporting him to become the Senate president if he emerged as the senator to represent Kogi West. Senator Smart Adeyemi is not from the same senatorial district as the governor, but the governor wanted someone from another senatorial district to be higher than him in protocol. Therefore, leaders have roles to play in uniting the people. Just like a child, look up to the parents, the body language, the behaviors, and learn from it, so also are the citizens. They look up to the leaders and act in line with the body language, the character of the leader. And that is why in Kogi State today, nobody is talking about ethnicity anymore. I want to urge media practitioners, leaders in the profession, to note that anyone campaigning to gain power on the basis of where he comes from is definitely incompetent. Competent people talk about their competence and talk about their character. Thank you and God bless you.